just, Prabhupada's presence was very, very strong, very powerful. Standard Hare Krishna, simple, so people could follow. That's important. Prabhupada didn't like these complicated melodies so much. And when I did that, Prabhupada looked at me with a huge smile. When that happened, people just went wild.
Hare Krishna. We're here today with His Grace Yadubara Prabhu, who was initiated by Srila Prabhupada in 1971 in Kolkata. Yadubara Prabhu traveled with Srila Prabhupada on many occasions, performing the service of shooting photographs and videos. And during that time, he heard many of Srila Prabhupada's instructions. So I'd like to appeal to Yadubara Prabhu to kindly share some of Srila Prabhupada's instructions and teachings regarding Kirtan, and some instructions he'd like to pass on to us, the next generation.
Thank you, Maharaj. One thing that stands out, we were in Calcutta, 1971, and Mangal Aarti was going on. And all of a sudden, Prabhupada's servant came out and stopped the Kirtan. And he said Prabhupada wanted only the morning melody to be sung. So we started singing the morning melody, the standard morning melody, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we stuck with that for many years, but then I remember very vividly in 1980, there was another tune being sung in Mayapur. And that was kind of a shock to us, because we always stuck with that instruction. So it's always nice to hear that continue, that instruction, just the morning melody. That's not, it's a standard tune, it's the other tune, now all over the world, but it wasn't standard then.
So are you referring to that in the midst of Mangal Aarti, another melody is introduced, and that's become standardized?
Yeah, along with the morning melody.
Along with the morning melody.
That's always sung.
So there was one melody that Prabhupada approved, and then since 1980, you've perceived a second one that joined the first one.
Yeah.
So things have changed since those
changed.
days.
But Prabhupada didn't want us to go too far off in terms of all kinds of different melodies for the Mangal Aarti. So that's, I'm not trying to create a movement, but it's nice to hear that standard.
Well, you have a film restoration project going on now. Perhaps there also should be a Kirtan standards restoration project going on.
That seems like you're doing that.
Please share some other memories of Srila Prabhupada in Kirtan, and that could inspire the devotees and be instructive also.
It was here in Vrindavan that we were visiting a temple evening program, and Prabhupada was singing, and it was very mystical. He was looking up through the grating at the sky, and it just looked to me like he was seeing things going on. It was very, very intense. So times like that, the window kind of opens on the other reality out there, besides this material reality. And those moments are very special. Another very personal story is that we were at the manor, Bhaktivedanta Manor. Guru Puja was going on, and I was leading, but there was no mic. So I decided at one point I should sing quite loudly, so Prabhupada could at least hear. And when I did that, Prabhupada looked at me with a huge smile. And then the smile not only was over there with Prabhupada, it filled the whole room. And it kind of a light just filled the room. So I think we've all had, experiences like that, very, very out of the world, out of this world, and we should relish those. Those are our future if we stick with the process. Prabhupada placed so much emphasis on chanting and kirtan. So we should become very serious in our chanting, whatever it takes.
I was watching your beautiful slideshow presentation today, photos of Srila Prabhupada. There was one close-up slide where Prabhupada's eyes, you could see his eyes, they looked so deep, like pools, like endless pools.
That's right.
And his smile seemed like oceanic. Can you share some other experiences you had with Srila Prabhupada where you experienced that?
When you looked into his eyes, they were very, very deep and endless. It wasn't so easy to do that. We didn't do it for very long, just stare at Prabhupada. But it was wonderful to be in his presence. I remember one time he came out of his massage. He had taken his bath, taking bath. It was at Kartikeya Mahadevi's house. And he came out of the room and walked by, we were filed. Prabhupada walked by all of us. As he walked by, you could smell the sandalwood incense and the flower garland, and Prabhupada's just this wonderful scent. As he passed by, he looked at all of us and he said, "Back home, back to Godhead." What a wonderful moment. Little moments like that just to really stand out.
You attended many of Srila Prabhupada's early Pando programs, 1971, Cross Maidan, Surat, many other places, Delhi. When Prabhupada had kirtan performed for these outreach programs, what was it like? What was the format, and how did Srila Prabhupada like it to be done?
Just basically standard. We saw some photos of the kirtan tonight. Standard, Hare Krishna, simple, so people could follow. That's important. Prabhupada didn't like these complicated melodies so much. Sometimes I hear melodies that are hard to follow. What to speak of devotees, the outsiders. And we should be concerned about the public, if they can follow. So, Prabhupada, he loved to see his disciples in kirtan. He took great pleasure, smiled a lot. In the LA, there was a big kirtan going on. They started throwing flowers to the crowd. When that happened, people just went wild. What else?
Can you say a few words about, you said that one of the most intense Mangal Aartis you ever attended was in the small room with Srila Prabhupada. Can you share that experience?
That was in Surat. There'd be Mangal Aarti every morning in Prabhupada's room. And it's a very small room, and 25 devotees, myself. And just the devotion, and the Prabhupada was just so immersed in kirtan, in the Mangal Aarti, and then also the devotees were just in ecstasy. I mean, everybody was just being alone with Prabhupada in that environment. It was a wonderful period of time, those years. Prabhupada was our temple president in Akash Ganga. He lived with us. He saw all our difficulties and faux pas. And then, what was that? What happened? Skips my mind. Anyway, wonderful time.
Srila Prabhupada at Akash Ganga.
Yeah. Well, actually, he would sit with us sometimes in japa and correct us if we weren't chanting properly. He especially didn't like hissing and whistling. He didn't like that at all. He would stop it. So oftentimes we hear that going on. And also the full mantra. There's a purport in Chaitanya Charitamrita that talks about this. He mentions hissing He doesn't mention the whistling. But, and also the emphasis on pronouncing every word of the mantra. Wonderful purport. But sometimes we hear that devotees aren't saying the full mantra in their japa.
It's very important to make sure all the syllables are chanted.
Takes, attention and concentration.
So you personally had the experience to sit with Prabhupada on several occasions and chant japa with him. Can you say something about Srila Prabhupada's absorption? What was it like to perceive that?
Very powerful. Very powerful. We were just trying to do our best on our own to chant. And we'd look at Prabhupada very often and take inspiration. Just, Prabhupada's presence was very, very strong, very powerful. As I said tonight, sometimes I felt uncomfortable because Prabhupada could actually tell our hearts and minds. Oftentimes they weren't many times they weren't very clean. So this is the process of cleansing, chanting. So we take it, very seriously. It's the basis of our Krishna consciousness.
Thank you so much, Yadubara.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.